Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So much is going on, and yesterday, especially yesterday, there were so many events, important moments taking place, historical moments, and I will be starting with that, which in my opinion is one of the most important moments at this point as far as the appointments of Trump's cabinet. And as many of you know, Robert Kennedy Jr. has been yesterday sworn in as the Secretary of Health and Human Services in the United States. My approach to this is a very monumental moment because this is not going to only change the health industry in the United States, but around the world, pretty much in most places in the world. Of course, Big Pharma will be after him, as they have been already. And I will be showing you a clip from that moment when he was sworn in the Oval Office. However, I wanted to start with this because this is a very special picture. This is a picture from the White House when Robert Kennedy Jr. was visiting his uncle, JFK, and he mentioned, I'm not sure if he mentioned this exact moment in his speech, but he mentioned the moment when he was visiting the White Office. That was a really, really important and special moment for me to watch as well. Let me show you one more picture, everyone. So this one is actually up close. Isn't it cool? This is little Robert Kennedy Jr. with President Kennedy. So guys, we will start with this, and then we will go to Zelensky, few words from the schmuck, and then we will go to what President Trump said in response to what the schmuck has said, which I think it's important to play that as well. I will also bring to you, let me see what else I have. I will also bring to you an article from TASS about Saudi Arabia that might be hosting the talks between Putin and Trump. And let's see what else I have. I think I have one more video from Oval Office, from the White House, from yesterday about Russia being back in G7 and what Trump thinks about it. So I hope you're okay with the choice of the clips that I have for you, of those videos. There's so much going on that I don't think any of us is physically able, mentally able to process all the information and pay attention to everything at the same time, because it's impossible. So of course you will not be able to watch all the news, because otherwise you will have no private life at all. So let me take you to this video, which I think it's a very special moment. And yeah, let's play that.
I want to begin by thanking President Trump for giving me this extraordinary opportunity. And I want to introduce my family and thank them for being here. My wife, Cheryl, my cousin, Anthony Shriver, my daughter, Kik, my other daughter, Kira, Catalina Shriver, Joey Shriver, Jackson Hines, and Amaryllis Kennedy.
All right.
And I want to thank all of you for your support and throughout this whole 2.5-year journey. My first time in this Oval Office was in 1961, and I came here to meet, or 1962. I came here and I had a meeting with my uncle, who was president then, where we talked about the environment. He was involved deeply, as we all know, in restoring physical fitness in this country. He challenged at one point during his administration, he challenged Americans to do a 50-mile walk, which I ultimately did. But I remember the day that my father completed his walk. We were staying at up at Camp David. And my father came in after 18 hours walking on this, towpath with his feet bleeding and blisters on them. My father had one of his best friends was Al Lowenstein. And Al Lowenstein ultimately was a congressman from New York who was assassinated himself in 1980. But Al Lowenstein had started the Dump Johnson movement to get rid of President Johnson and end the Vietnam War. And at the time that he started it, people just thought it was a fool's errand. And ultimately, he asked my father to run for president against Johnson. My father wouldn't do it at that time. And he asked Gene McCarthy. McCarthy did it, and he joined that campaign. And my father ultimately ran, and Johnson then dropped out. So Al Lowenstein had succeeded. And although Al Lowenstein was on the other side now running against my father with Gene McCarthy, my father wrote him a note, a quote from Emerson, where he said, if a single man plants himself firmly on his own ideal and there abide, the whole wide world will come around to him. For 20 years, I've gotten up every morning on my knees and prayed that God would put me in a position where I can end the childhood chronic disease epidemic in this country. On August 23rd of last year, God sent me President Trump.
All right.
And he gave me he's now given me, he's kept every promise that he's made to me. He's kept his word in every account and gone way beyond it. I'm so grateful to you, Mr. President. A lot of people told me that I couldn't trust President Trump. I better get it in writing. And we did a handshake, and everything that he told me he was going to do, he has done.
Right.
And I'm so grateful to him. And I've told you before, I genuinely believe that you are a pivotal historical figure, and you are going to transform this country at a time when we see all of the indicia of democracy now in tatters in our country. We see the rise of the military-industrial complex, the rise of totalitarianism, these attacks on our Constitution, and this breathtaking epidemic that is disabling our people. President Trump has promised to restore the American dream in this country. A healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person only has one. 60% of our population has only one dream, that they get better. President Trump has promised that he's going to restore America's strength. But we can't be a strong nation if we have a weak citizenry. If people are sick, 60% of our people are sick, 77%, as President Trump mentioned, our children cannot qualify for military service. And we need a man on a white horse now. We need somebody who is willing to come in and has the spine and the guts and the strength to challenge orthodoxies, to stand in the way of vested interests, and to break institutions that have turned against our democracy. President Trump has shown again and again that he is that hero. And most recently, I greatly appreciate, and I called you the day that you announced the termination of USAID. My uncle started USAID in 1961 for humanitarian purposes, to put our country on the side of the poor. It has been captured by the military-industrial complex. It has become a sinister propagator of totalitarianism and war across the globe. And very few people understand how sinister this agency really is. And President Trump saw that, and he stood up to it with a masterstroke. And we want to do the same thing with the institutions that are stealing the health of our children. We need a revolutionary figure, and you are that figure, and I'm very grateful for you for giving me this opportunity. I want to recognize some of the allies that I've had in this battle for a long time: Senator Rand Paul, Senator Ron Johnson, Senator Roger Marshall, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Buddy Carter, who've all been champions of the MAHA agenda before I even came along. I'm very grateful for you for standing strong. Thank you very much, President.
emotional. I have to say. I was watching this yesterday, but because I tell you, I was emotional because I understood we are still at war, and we have not quite conquered yet fully the evil forces that are opposing the good side. Let's put this way. This is the battle between good and evil. As it was mentioned, 60% of US population, or children in this matter, I believe, is sick. And that is really disturbing. I've lived in US. I know how the food industry is operating there, how poisoned the food is, how different is food here in Europe. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's completely different approach to food than is in United States. They are intentionally killing people there, using food as one of those weapons. So I am very, very grateful to God that there is someone who I fully believe in that is going to dedicate his life to fight with that and to change that, and hopefully forever. Not to mention the experience that we were faced with several years ago that myself personally, I never participated in. Some people did, and that was their choice. Many people felt as if they don't have a choice or they didn't have a choice. I think we always do. Sometimes it's not easy, but that's how I approach life. So anyway, he's sworn in, and we will be watching how he is doing his best to transform America and take away the power of big pharma, which is pretty huge. So now let's go to Zelensky, everyone. I hope you are okay with me sharing those moments. Like I said, not all of us can physically be able to see all the news at once. Let's go to what Zelensky has said in response to the call between President Putin and President Trump. Oh, he has always something to say, doesn't he?
Головне, щоб все не йшло по плану Путіна. Коли він хоче зробити все, щоб перемовини у нього були двосторонні, він зі Сполученими Штатами Америки, і ми просто не зможемо акцептувати як незалежна країна будь-які домовленості без нас. Я вважаю, що за столом перемовин повинні бути і європейці, бо ми є частиною Європи, і ми будемо обов'язково членами Європейського Союзу. Я і сказав, що гарантії безпеки для нас, безумовно, це пріоритет. І гарантій без вас ми не бачимо. Які вони? Давайте говорити. Я знаю, що американці, ви знаєте, не хочуть, щоб ми були в НАТО. Чесно. І це буде дуже складно для нас. Тому я не сприймаю цей дзвінок, що це був пріоритет, що він спочатку говорив з Росією. Хоча, дійсно, це не дуже приємно у будь-якому випадку.
Ego hurts. Trump talks to Putin first, not to the schmuck. But anyway, so that's what he said. I think we already know that his time is pretty much finished. We just see how he evacuates this situation, alive or not. Now let's go to President Trump and his response to what Schmuck just said. Let me mute myself, guys, first, because when I share the screen, so give me a moment. Okay.
You had that major call yesterday with President Putin of Russia. President Zelensky responded today, basically saying any agreements they won't accept unless they're made with Ukraine. Will Ukraine have a seat at that table for those negotiations?
Of course they would. I mean, they're part of it. We would have Ukraine, we'd have Russia, and we'll have other people involved too. A lot of people, a lot of a lot of forks in this game. I'll tell you what, this is a very interesting situation, but the Ukraine war has to end. The young people are being killed at levels that nobody's seen since World War II. And it's a ridiculous war, and it has to end. We had a good talk with President Putin. I had a good talk with President Zelensky, very good talk. And somebody said, oh, I should have called Zelensky first. I don't think so. I mean, we have to find out whether or not Russia wants to make a deal. I know that Zelensky wants to make a deal because he told me that. But I now know that Russia wants to make a deal.
Did you ask Secretary Hegseth to walk back his comments yesterday saying Ukraine won't join NATO and won't go back to pre-2014 borders because those are bargaining chips you could use?
No, I didn't. Somebody told me to, but I thought his comments were good yesterday, and they're probably good today. They're a little bit softer, perhaps, but I thought his comments yesterday were pretty accurate. I don't see any way that a country in Russia's position could allow them, just in their position, could allow them to join NATO. I don't see that happening. And long before President Putin, Russia was very strong on the fact that I believe that's the reason the war started, because Biden went out and said that they could join NATO, and he shouldn't have said that. As soon as he said that, I said, you know what? You're going to have a war now. And I was right about that. This is a war that would have never happened if I were president.
But you don't think it's President Biden's fault, not President Putin? I mean, he's the one.
I think Biden is incompetent. And I think when he said that they could join NATO, I thought that was a very stupid thing to say. I thought when he said, well, it depends if it's a minor incursion. In other words, it's okay if Russia does a minor incursion. I thought that was a very foolish thing to say.
The
other thing that got it started was how badly Milley and these stupid people, these bad generals, how badly they did with Afghanistan. I was going to pull out, but we were pulling out with dignity and strength, and we were going to take our equipment with us and everything else. What they're doing is what they did with that. I think Putin looked at that mess and he said, wow, this is a great time. I'm going to go in. But what the Americans said, I'm not blaming Americans, but I will say what they said had a big influence on his deciding to go in. Yeah.
So there we have it, everyone. As far as those talks between President Putin and President Trump, let's go to the article here from TASS. This is from today, February 14th. Press review. Saudi Arabia might host Putin-Trump talks and Moscow eyes Africa hub. So in this article, which will be attached down below as all the other links that I'm sharing during this video, in the description box, you can read about Saudi Arabia could host a meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump. This is something what he actually mentioned the day before yesterday. And I brought this up yesterday in my live stream with Alex Krainer. If you haven't watched that live stream and you have time, make sure you watch it, because it was, I think, one of the best live streams I had with Alex so far. Incredibly informative. As always, Alex is very well informed, and he's not just the financial expert, he's geopolitical expert and has very great way of explaining quite complicated topics in a very easy to understand way. So the Munich Security Conference commences in Germany. So this is happening today, I believe, as well, on the resolution of the conflict in Eastern Europe. And Russia is seeking to find alternative logistics hubs in Africa. So also, guys, I just want to bring to your attention, since I follow this daily, some of you probably don't care, some of you do. It's about Russian ruble. As some of you know, that it's actually right here. Russian ruble strengthens amid expected resolution to Ukrainian conflict. At this point, as I was checking the exchange rate, it was about 90 rubles per dollar, and not a long time ago it was 113, I remember. So it's quite a drop right here, and that is also part of this article. Now I want to take you, since we are talking about Russia and G7, there was a question asked yesterday in the Oval Office that was asked as the same question as the other question was asked about Trump's opinion about Zelensky's commentary to Trump's Putin call. This was the same moment before Robert Kennedy Jr. was sworn in. This is from yesterday. One of the journalists asked about Russia being part of G7. So let me play you this. I mute myself and let's go to the video.
The biggest tax cuts in history. This could be one of the most important things that we've ever signed.
Do you expect the Russians and President Putin to attend the summit in Saudi Arabia?
Eventually, yeah. Not quite yet. It's a little early. They're having a meeting in Munich tomorrow. Russia is going to be there with our people. Ukraine is also invited, by the way. Not sure exactly who's going to be there from any country, but high-level people from Russia, from Ukraine, and from the United States.
Do you want to have Russia back to the G7, sir?
I'd love to have them back. I think it was a mistake to throw them out. Look, it's not a question of liking Russia or not liking Russia. It was the G8. And, you know, I said, what are you doing? You guys, all you talk about is Russia, and they should be sitting at the table. I think Putin would love to be back. Obama and a couple of other people made a mistake and they got Russia out. It's very possible that if that was the G8, you wouldn't have had the problem with Ukraine. And if I was president, you definitely wouldn't have had the problem with Ukraine. Russia would have never attacked Ukraine. But you ask a very good question, the G8. It used to be the G8, and then these people threw them out. And I was arguing with Trudeau and with numerous of the people. Actually, Prime Minister Abe, a great man from Japan, agreed with me 100%, and some of the others did too. But I got there, it was the G7, as you know. They had already been terminated. I think it would have been very helpful, and it still would be helpful to have Russia be a part of that mix.
So
And I think if they were, I don't think you would have had the problem that you have right now.
Russia,
Here is the opinion about G7. I don't think this is something that Russia would consider. But who knows? Because now we have BRICS, which is a completely different reality at this point in the world. And since we have St. Valentine's Day today, everyone, it's not a holiday that I personally celebrate. I think it's very commercial and is mainly driven on this. Love we should express every single day. First and foremost, we should love ourselves and then make choices based from love, on love. I think you, my audience, is one of the most loving and accepting and unconditionally accepting, most of the time, audience I could possibly ask for. And I will not be ending this video with a comment of the day, but something of a rather light nature. I want to share with you a little clip from my Instagram that I came across that maybe brings smile to some of you, because why not? We need more joy in our life. That is my approach to Valentine's Day. Dogs are the best. Thank you everyone for watching. I wish you a great day. Hopefully the videos that I have chosen for you today were informative and gave you some spectrum of what's really happening. With this being said, all the links you will find down below in the description box. And if you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, share the videos. And stay tuned for some new interviews that are coming in the very near future with some guests that I have not had on my channel yet. I'm really looking forward to those conversations. I'm not going to tell you who yet. Let it be scheduled first and we go from there. If you choose to support my work, Patreon, Locals, PayPal are the best options. And follow me on Instagram as well. It's Ania K _44. And lots of love. Remember, we are the leading edge and we are saving humanity. Bye everyone. See you in the next video.